Most people know the basic story of Mary, the mother of Jesus. She's often seen in nativity scenes during Christmas and spoken of during church services. But there's so much more to Mary than what we typically hear. Her life was filled with incredible faith, humility, and divine grace. This video will take a deeper dive into her life, uncovering lesser-known facts and stories. We'll look into her early years, her role in Jesus' life, and her legacy in the Christian faith, all while respecting different beliefs and religions. Before we get started, be sure to like the video, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so that you never miss a video from us in the future. Okay, now let's get started. Mary's story starts in a small town called Nazareth, a place so modest it's barely mentioned in historical records. Her parents, Joachim and Anne, were devout Jews. They were elderly and had no children, which was considered a sign of divine disfavor in those times. According to tradition, Joachim and Anne prayed fervently for a child and promised to dedicate that child to God. Their prayers were answered, and Mary was born. From a young age, Mary was deeply immersed in faith and devotion, likely influenced by her parents' piety. Mary's ancestry is securely preserved in Jewish tradition. She is a descendant of David through her father, Joachim, and from the tribe of Levi through her mother, Anne. This dual heritage is significant because it links Jesus to both the royal line of David and the priestly line of Levi, further pointing to his role as both king and high priest. One interesting anecdote from non-canonical texts, such as the Proto-Evangelium of James, tells of Mary's upbringing in the temple. According to this tradition, she was dedicated to God by her parents at a very young age. She grew up in the temple and received a deep religious education. This background would have prepared her for her unique role in salvation history. Mary's humble beginnings make her story even more interesting. She wasn't a princess or a person of high status. She was a simple girl from a small town. This humility is a key part of her character and her story. It sets the stage for the moment when the angel Gabriel appeared to her, a young, likely teenage girl of about 14 or 15 years old, with a message that would change the world. The Gospel of Luke 1, verse 28, reveals when Gabriel visited Mary. He greeted her with the words, "Hail, favored one, the Lord is with you." Imagine the surprise and confusion she must have felt. Yet, despite her initial fear and uncertainty, Mary responded with faith and obedience. She said, "I am the Lord's servant. May your word to me be fulfilled." This response shows her deep faith and willingness to accept God's plan, even though it was something she couldn't fully understand at the time. Mary is often compared to Eve, the first woman according to the Bible. Eve's disobedience brought sin into the world, but Mary's obedience brought the Savior into the world. This contrast is central to understanding Mary's role in Christian theology. Eve's choice led to the fall of humanity, while Mary's choice opened the door to redemption. This idea is beautifully illustrated in a story from the early church. It is said that Mary's yes to God was like reopening a closed door. Where Eve had closed the door to God's grace through her disobedience, Mary reopened it through her obedience. This story highlights how Mary's role was not just about being Jesus' mother, but about being an essential part of God's plan for salvation. She's often referred to as the second Eve. Mary is also referred to as the Ark of the New Covenant. In the Old Testament, the Ark of the Covenant was a sacred chest that held the 10 Commandments, Aaron's rod, and manna. It was the physical representation of God's presence among his people. Mary, by carrying Jesus in her womb, became the new Ark. She carried the Word of God made flesh, the bread of life and the faithful high priest. This title emphasizes her unique and holy role in God's plan. One of the most heart-wrenching moments in Mary's life was witnessing the crucifixion of her son. As any mother would, she suffered immensely, watching Jesus endure such pain and humiliation. Mary's presence at the crucifixion is a powerful proof of her strength and faith. She stood by her son until the very end, embodying a deep maternal love and unwavering faith in God's plan. Imagine standing at the foot of the cross, watching your child suffer and die, knowing you can do nothing to stop it. This is the scene of Mary at Calvary. Her heart must have been breaking, yet she remained a silent witness to her son's suffering. Her presence there also symbolizes the Church's presence in the world, standing by humanity in its suffering and offering hope and consolation. In one of his final acts, Jesus looked down from the cross and saw his mother standing beside the disciple John. He said, "Woman, here is your son," and to John, "Here is your mother," as referenced in John 19, verses 26 to 27. This act was not just about ensuring his mother was cared for. It symbolized Jesus giving Mary to all of humanity as a spiritual mother. This moment points to Mary's ongoing role in the life of the Church and the lives of believers. Mary's influence didn't end with her earthly life. Throughout history, there have been numerous accounts of her appearing to people in miraculous ways. These apparitions have often carried messages of prayer, peace, and conversion, and have inspired millions of people around the world. Mary had appeared to 3 young shepherd children in Fatima, Portugal, Lucia, Francisco, and Jacinta in 1917. She appeared multiple times, delivering messages urging prayer, especially the Rosary, and penance for the conversion of sinners. One of the most remarkable aspects of the Fatima apparitions was the miracle of the sun, witnessed by tens of thousands of people. This event strengthened the faith of many and led to a renewed devotion to Mary. In Lourdes, France, a young girl named Bernadette Soubirous saw Mary in a grotto in the year 1858. Throughout 18 different apparitions, Mary revealed herself as the Immaculate Conception and asked Bernadette to drink from a spring that miraculously appeared. The waters of Lourdes have since been associated with numerous healings, and millions of pilgrims visit Lourdes each year seeking spiritual and physical healing. Another of Mary's apparitions happened in 1531 in Guadalupe, Mexico. Mary appeared to a man named Juan Diego and asked him to build a church on the site of her appearance. As proof of her request, she left her image on Juan Diego's cloak, known as the tilma. The image on the tilma is still venerated today and has been the source of numerous miracles. The Basilica of Our Lady of Guadalupe is one of the most visited pilgrimage sites in the world, drawing millions of faithful each year. These apparitions have reinforced Mary's role as a powerful intercessor and symbol of divine intervention. They remind believers of her ongoing presence and care for humanity, inspiring deeper faith and commitment to God. The end of Mary's earthly life is surrounded by mystery and reverence. The doctrine of the Assumption, which celebrates Mary being taken up to heaven in both body and soul, highlights her unique holiness and prefigures the resurrection that all believers hope to experience. This belief is celebrated with great reverence in both Catholic and Orthodox traditions. The details of Mary's death are not recorded in the Bible, but according to tradition, she lived with the Apostle John in Ephesus until her death. Some traditions hold that Mary fell asleep peacefully and was then taken up to heaven. This event is known as the Dormition of Theotokos. the falling asleep of the Mother of God in the Eastern Orthodox Church. The Assumption is commemorated on August 15th each year and is a major feast in the Christian calendar. It is a day of great joy and celebration, marking Mary's entry into heavenly glory. This belief in her Assumption also reflects the hope that all believers will one day be united with God in heaven. Mary's legacy is rich and multifaceted. She is known by many titles, each signifying her maternal care and intercession. Some of the most popular titles include Our Lady of Sorrows, Queen of Heaven, and Mother of the Church. These titles emphasize her role in the lives of believers and her ongoing intercession on their behalf. Devotion to Mary is expressed in many ways. The Rosary is one of the most popular forms of Marian devotion. It involves meditating on the life of Jesus and Mary while praying a series of prayers, including the Hail Mary. The Rosary is more than just a repetitive prayer. It's a journey through the critical events in the lives of Jesus and Mary. Each set of mysteries, joyful, sorrowful, glorious, and luminous, focuses on different aspects of their lives, helping believers to reflect deeply on their faith. In addition to the Rosary, Marian hymns and prayers are essential to Christian worship. Hymns like Ave Maria and Hail Holy Queen express deep love and reverence for Mary. These hymns are often sung during Mass, at Marian feasts, and during times of personal prayer. Pilgrimages to Marian shrines are another important aspect of devotion. Places like Lourdes, Fatima, and Guadalupe draw millions of pilgrims each year. These pilgrimages allow believers to seek Mary's intercession, experience spiritual renewal, and strengthen their faith. Faithfuls often come home with stories of miraculous healings and answered prayers at these sites, further inspiring devotion and reinforcing Mary's role as a powerful intercessor. Mary's influence extends beyond individual devotion. She has inspired countless works of art, literature, and music throughout history. Artists like Michelangelo, Leonardo da Vinci, and Raphael have created iconic representations of Mary, capturing her grace and beauty. In literature, poets like Dante and writers like Gerard Manley Hopkins have celebrated Mary's role in salvation history. From classical compositions to contemporary worship songs, music often features Mary as a central figure, reflecting her enduring impact on the Christian imagination. The life of Mary, the mother of Jesus, is a veritable example of faith, humility, and divine grace. From her humble beginnings in Nazareth to her pivotal role in the life of Jesus, Mary's story is rich with lessons for all of us. Even in the face of immense challenges, her deep faith and obedience to God serve as a powerful model for believers. As we think about Mary's life, we are invited to deepen our own faith and commitment to God. By following her example of love and service, we can draw closer to Jesus and live lives that are more aligned with His teachings. Mary's ongoing role as a spiritual mother and intercessor offers comfort and hope to believers, reminding us that we are never alone in our faith journey. Her legacy of devotion, as seen in the Rosary, Marian hymns, and pilgrimages, continues to inspire the faithful. Through these practices, believers connect with Mary and seek her guidance and intercession. Mary's story is evidence of the power of faith and the transformative impact of divine grace. Hence, the untold story of the Virgin Mary reveals a woman of extraordinary faith and humility whose life was deeply immersed in the divine plan for salvation. Her life continues to inspire and guide millions of believers around the world 2,000 years later, offering a powerful example of what it means to live a life of faith, love, and service. As we honor Mary, We are reminded of the profound impact our faith can have on the world, and we are encouraged to live our own lives with the same devotion and grace. What aspects of the Virgin Mary's life inspire you most? Kindly share with others in the comment section below. And don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't done so already. Thank you for watching, and God bless you.